6 Coronation Street spoilers next week. Something massive is happening on the cobbles next week, and no one saw this coming. Eileen Grimshaw is packing her bags. But is George coming with her, or is this heartbreak in slow motion? That's not all. A forbidden kiss, a brutal teen showdown, and a comeback that could turn everything upside down. Coronation Street is turning up the chaos, and we've got all the drama you need to know. From a kiss that could tear a marriage apart, to a confrontation that might ruin a future, this week isn't just dramatic, it's explosive. And trust me, one of these storylines, it's got a twist that'll leave you re-watching the scene in shock. So, before we break down the biggest spoilers from 2nd to 6th June, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell, because every week we bring you the latest Corrie chaos, the second it drops. Let's get into it. 1. Eileen Grimshaw heads to Thailand. But is George Shuttleworth going with her? Let's talk Eileen Grimshaw, because things are really kicking off for her next week. She shows George and Jason a piece in the Gazette, and it's not good news. The article suggests they're all tangled up in some dodgy insurance scam, and George starts to panic. This could ruin their business. He goes straight to Todd with the news. But the real question is, who's actually behind this article? Meanwhile, Jason's at the Rovers chatting up Danielle Silverton. All seems normal until he casually drops that Todd's his brother, and you can see Danielle's thrown by it. What's she hiding? And is Jason about to uncover something big? Later on, Jason makes a bold move. He asks Eileen to come and live with him in Thailand, and even be his business partner. Eileen's tempted, but tells him George would never go for it. Well, not so fast, because Jason wastes no time in telling George. And George, he's completely thrown, but surprises everyone when he tells Eileen he's actually up for the move. In fact, he's already booked a trip, leaving tomorrow, so they can go and check it all out. But just as things seem to be falling into place, Eileen overhears Theo telling his daughter Millie that he wants to be with Todd and can't keep living a lie. And those words, they hit her hard. George sees the change in her straight away. George ends up confiding in Steve MacDonald about his fears, and it's clear Steve knows more than he's letting on. Then, Eileen hits George with 2 big bombshells. The police have closed the case on Julie Karp's death, and she's decided to accept Jason's offer. She's moving to Thailand and investing in the bar. But the big question is, will George go with her? Or is this the end of the road for Eileen and George? 2. Will Abby Webster give in to temptation with Karl Webster? Tracy Barlow's back to her old tricks next week, and this time she's turning on the charm with Karl at the garage. But it's not for romance. Oh no, she's doing it to wind up Steve. Meanwhile, Karl gets a text from Fiona asking to meet, and Abby clocks it straight away. She assumes it's from a girlfriend, and yep, the jealousy kicks in. Then Fiona shows up at the garage in person, and Tracy's ears perk up when she hears Karl calling himself the boss. So, what exactly is Karl playing at here? Abby isn't impressed either. She sees Karl getting cozy with Tracy, and later pulls Tracy aside, warning her that Karl's a bit of a player and probably not worth the hassle. Karl finds out, of course, and he's fuming. He calls Abby out and reckons she must fancy him herself. Abby flat out denies it, and even threatens to tell Kevin if Karl doesn't leave her alone. But then, Karl pushes it. He tells Abby to stop pretending and leans in for a kiss. The big question is, will Abby kiss him back? The next day, Karl and Debbie pop round with bacon butties, and Kevin notices Abby's awkward vibe. Then, when Debbie brings up a dodgy customer from the garage, Karl quickly shuts her down, which only makes Kevin more suspicious. But here's the real worry. Should Kev be more concerned about what Karl's really doing with his wife? 3. Dylan Wilson faces off with Brody Michaelis. Things are tense for Sean Tully as he braces for Dylan's return from the STC. He's worried sick about Brody still being around, and with good reason. All Sean wants is a peaceful, fresh start for his lad, maybe even a quiet lunch to mark the day. But Dylan's not in the mood for any kind of celebration. He just wants to keep things low-key, away from the fuss, and stay out of the spotlight for a bit. You can tell he's come back with a lot on his mind, and he's not quite ready to slot back into normal life. But of course, drama isn't far behind. When Brody shows up, you can feel the tension straight away. Sean's instantly in protective parent mode, trying to shield Dylan from any more grief. But Dylan? He's not backing down. In fact, it seems like he's got his own plans, and maybe even a bit of a score to settle. There's definitely a shift in him. He's not scared anymore, and he's not afraid to stand up for himself or the people he cares about. That side of Dylan really shows when Brody turns nasty with Betsy. Just when things start getting out of hand, Dylan steps in to defend her. No hesitation. It's a proper turning point, showing how much he's grown and how he's not willing to let bullies win. Not anymore. But stepping into that situation could stir up even more trouble. So now, the real question is, has Dylan just made things better, or a whole lot worse? 4. Tim and Sally, Metcalf at odds over fostering plans. Sally's loving the peace and quiet, now the house is just the two of them again. So she's feeling proper content, until she starts to sense something's going on. Tim's acting a bit shifty, suited and booted with the house looking spotless, which, let's be honest, isn't his usual vibe. And when a social worker turns up on the doorstep, the penny drops fast. Sally's completely thrown. It's a lot to take in, especially when she had no clue about the fostering idea in the first place. Feeling a bit all over the place, Sally ends up having a heart-to-heart with Glenda. She opens up about Tim's plans and admits she's got her doubts, not because she doesn't care, but more because she's worried they might be too far down the road for this kind of change. But Glenda's not one to let her spiral. She listens, she nudges, and maybe, just maybe, she plants a little seed that could shift how Sally sees it all. 5. James Bailey returns with baby Laila, as Dee-Dee Bailey stands firm on her choice. Dee-Dee tells her dad, Ed, that she's moved on from everything that happened and is putting all her energy into improving things for midwives. She's trying to focus on her work and make a real difference, showing she's back on track. But when she takes on a tough custody case, Ed starts to worry she's not quite ready for something that heavy. Dee-Dee opens up to Daniel, saying she knows deep down it was the right thing to let James take baby Laila, even if the rest of the family reckon she'll regret it. Then, just as she and Daniel are heading out of the bistro, James turns up with little Laila in his arms. That moment could change everything for Dee-Dee. Seeing her daughter again might stir up feelings she's been trying hard to keep buried. 6. Debbie Webster hopes to reconnect with Ronnie Bailey. Debbie's trying to keep things together, but even the little stuff like sorting her change at the shop is starting to trip her up. She's still coming to terms with her diagnosis, and while she's doing her best to carry on as normal, it's clear the weight of it is really taking a toll. When Ronnie steps in, just wanting to give a hand, Debbie pushes him away. Not out of anger, but more from that need to feel like she's still got control over her own life. But the next day, things feel a bit different. Ronnie's just doing a favour for Leanne, nothing major, just lending her a drill. But Debbie catches the moment and it hits her. Seeing him get on with others so easily makes her wonder if she's pushing away the one person who's actually trying to be there for her. Deep down, she knows Ronnie still cares. But with everything she's battling inside, will pride and fear stop her from letting him back in? And that's a wrap on another jam-packed week on the cobbles. And let's be honest, things are getting properly intense, aren't they? Eileen's big move, surprise kisses, showdowns, and emotional reckonings. It's the kind of drama that keeps us coming back for more. But with so much changing and old faces returning, the question on everyone's mind is, what's next? So if you're just as hooked as we are, don't forget to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a moment from Coronation Street. Got a theory about George and Eileen? Or think Abby's about to make a huge mistake? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing what you think. See you next time for more twists, shocks, and soap chaos from Weatherfield.